Hey everyone, it's Jenny. Welcome to another process video for me. So today I have teamed up with Callie Barron and I will leave a link to her YouTube account, and we've used this Studio Calico mood board as our inspiration today, and we are making a layout. So go check Callie out, and I'm sure that hers and mine will be completely different, which is something that I love about scrapbooking. We can use the same element to start off our inspiration and creativity and go in a totally different direction, which is awesome. So I have picked some colors from that mood board, and I'm going to use gelatos, which you can see them laying on my mat there. And I have picked out some pieces of paper, and I am using some paper from Crate Paper from the little Bo Peep 6x6 paper pad, and it's about a 2012 collection. And I'm using these little journal cards from My Mind's Eye, and they were from the Jubilee collection, and I decided to back those with some different colored pattern papers, and I think I might have used one or two pieces of paper out of that little journaling cards pack as well. So all I'm doing is finding some paper to back the cards with and putting some wet glue on and getting them all ready. So it's going to jump ahead, so you don't have to watch me back every card because it's all the same process, and just trying to work out where I wanted to put some of these cards. I actually lost one in the process, and that's what I was trying to work out the placement. I couldn't find it, but I found it at the end. It had fallen into my big giant messy pile to the right, but the layout really worked without it. So I had some gorgeous papers in this collection that I was happy to be able to use up. So there you go, we've jumped ahead there. And so I've got a white piece of cardstock, and I'm just trimming off a little bit off two sides, and I'm going to put it on this Kaiser craft piece of paper that I've had in my stash for years, and all I wanted to have was a little bit of the color around on the sides. So I've just laid some clear gesso down, and I'm just using my fingers to apply that, and then I'm going to hit it with the heat gun and dry it off so that it is ready. Paper has buckled a little bit, but you know, in the end you can't tell, and I end up backing it on another piece of white cardstock as well, just to give it a little bit more stability. So I've got the little cards set up the way I want them to go for the end layout. So I'm just putting color down, making sure that the color that I'm putting down isn't the same as the card sitting on top. So I don't want a blue card sitting on top of a bluey green piece of gelato, and the same as with the yellow or that beautiful corally pink. So all I'm doing is adding some water to the gelatos to get them moving and blending, and my camera does shut out, and I didn't realize that it had turned off, so it will jump ahead where I have done some stamping. So pretty much what you see now though is the same you know, thing that I did throughout the whole layout, and all I'm doing is spraying it with water, or adding a lot of water and hitting it with the heat gun, turning the page around so that the drips go in all different directions and form all sorts of different texture underneath. And so this is where it might jump ahead, but all I've done is I've added some more layers of gesso, and I've got these Prima spray inks. There we go. So I added some Prima spray ink as well, and a little bit of distress paint in certain areas as well. So that Prima spray ink has a glimmer to it, and so it put a nice little bit of shine throughout the page as well. And I might have hit it with a little bit of yellow from Glimmer Mist as well. And so I pulled out my, what are they called? I always forget what they're called. Neo Color 2 water soluble crayons, which I had seen Gretchen color one of her die cut pieces in the other week, just by laying a layer of gelatos on top and rubbing them with a baby wipe, and I tried to do that with the Neo, is it Neon Color? What are they? See, I just read it and I forget. The Neo Color 2. I tried to do it with that, but it didn't move and blend in, so I've gone to my gelatos, and all I'm doing is laying down a little bit of color and then blending it in with the baby wipe. So the moisture from the baby wipe just helps it to smooth out and blend in without having to add a lot of water. And now I'm just going along with a little water brush and some color and adding that to the different elements of these little square pieces of paper. And so you'll see me pick up, I've got a couple of shades of yellow, and I end up picking the brightest of each shade. So I've got the orange here, but I end up putting that down because it's not quite bright enough. So I wanted the top cards to pop a little bit more than the bottom layout. So I just had to add a little bit more brightness to some of these little cards to make them pop. So that's all I'm doing there, is running along my little brush there that has water in the little barrel, and so I can just squeeze a tiny bit out and use the gelato straight from the little stick like a little paintbrush. And just putting some pop dots. So these are the high pop dots that I don't always like. So I think these ones are from American Crafts, but they were the perfect height for this layout because I wanted those two little photos to be higher than the actual little cards next to them, so that the photo actually pops off the page a little bit. And there you go, you can see that I have done that. And now I'm grabbing these little flowers. I never use flowers, and the other day I was challenged to use them, so I have pulled some out of my stash, and the orange and the little red flowers are from Prima, and the yellow, white and blue flowers are from an Aussie company called Manor House Creations. So I'm just using some glossy accents to hold that down because I don't have a glue gun, or my daughter has got my glue gun and I couldn't be bothered going and finding it. So I'm just using a little bit of wet glue, and that holds it down fine, and tucking a few little elements in underneath those flowers and around. So I've got some buttons, and I end up putting a few other little bits and pieces as well. So these little craft letters here were from Target, and they were like about $1 or $2 I think in their little craft section. Here in Australia we don't have a craft section like you guys in the US have in our Target stores, but these were a cute little find, and I really liked those little letter stickers. So they're quite flat, they're not very dimensional, but I wanted to add a few craft butterflies. So they're cork butterflies, so that craft color blended in well with those. So I'm just doing my embellishments now. So just adding a little butterfly to each area. So I have 3 little cluster points, and that is the title area and the 2 flowered areas. So it makes a nice little visual triangle between all of those 3 cluster points. And I've just got these little Teresa Collins little mini word phrase stickers. So I've been using those on lots of my layouts, and I can't get enough of those. They are just cute. So I do have 2 packets of those so that I can use them as many times as I want, and just popping them at various places. So this photo is of my friend's little girl, and her mum had to work and it was my day off, so she came around for the morning and I taught her how to scrapbook. And she's only 4 years old, and she's showing the 2 layouts that she did, and she had a ball. So that was a beautiful little day and a nice layout to be able to create around those happy little memories. And her mum said that she is pulling out stuff at home and bits and pieces of paper, and she is creating up a storm. So it's nice to encourage the next generation in scrapbooking. And yeah, she is a beautiful little girl, and so it was nice to record that memory. So all I'm doing here is I have grabbed a white gelato and I'm placing it on some wood veneer, and it really works well. So usually I cover them in paint, but I always have to do lots of layers and it's messy. And then I saw someone just using their white gelato the other day and thought that I would give that a go. I also have those little you can see those little color palette just there, metallic rub-ons, and one of them was gold, and I tried to put some gold onto one of the hearts, but it just looked horrible. It didn't look gold to me. All it did was make it look like a dirty brown, so I ended up not using them, and I just put a little bit of white gelato on the little craft butterflies to change some of those colors. And now I'm just using my glossy accents to glue down the little wood veneer pieces, and I realized that button hadn't been glued down yet, and I think I'm pretty much done. No, I know that I need to add some black ink and I need to add some enamel dots, so not quite done yet. But I really like the way this layout looks. It's different for me. So there I am, adding that little bit of distress paint in worn lipstick to some of the flowers and to a little bit of the edge. Wasn't working that great, and I didn't really want to squeeze it and make more come out and mess up my layout. So I just put a little touch here and there. And the Wink of Stella. I was going through my stuff and I found my Wink of Stella pen. It's just the clear glitter pen, and I have not used that in like over a year, and I found it amongst all of my paintbrushes, so I'm pulling that out and adding a few touches of glitter to different areas. And if you don't know what a Wink of Stella is, it's just a beautiful fine glitter pen. So it doesn't add big chunks of glitter, it just adds a little bit of shine to the page, but it's actually in a little paintbrush form, so that it's you know, you can do some thicker coverage, not just fine little details. So I would recommend those, and they come in all different colors of glitter and gloss, so you can get one to suit everything. So I just love the clear because I only need one. So here I am adding some little enamel dots around the page, sticking with the similar colors that I have already got on the page. And then I am tossing up whether I want to add my black ink. So I'm like, oh, if I add my black ink and I get it in the wrong place, it's going to wreck my layout, which I'm really happy with. So that's always what happens at the end of a layout. It's always, oh, should I add it and risk wrecking it, or leaving it? And I always go with risk wrecking it. So there we go. I was tapping my fingers, and you know, thankfully they went exactly where I wanted them to go, and I just took my time with letting them fall, and I was happy with their placement. And the black just, you know, finishes the page off for me and adds, you know, a little bit of a pop to the page that is quite bright and colourful. So that is my finished layout for this challenge with Callie, and I think that, you know, I have succeeded. I copied the colour and I used the little square element that you saw in one of the little pictures on the mood board as my inspiration to use those little square placemat pieces. And I was really happy with how it turned out. Really enjoyed doing mixed media again. I actually enjoyed having those flowers on the page, which I wouldn't normally enjoy, and just, yeah, really enjoyed this challenge. So go check Callie out and you won't be disappointed. Bye.